one of the co-hosts. My other co-host is Mr. Anthony Aiken.
Oh, how you doing there?
I'm doing great. And after I get through with the preliminaries, I will Anthony will take part and introduce our guest today. As I said, we are here to empower the worldwide community. You can follow us on Facebook Live. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and you can also follow us by going to on a smartphone or a smart TV at WCEG Radio or WCEGTalkRadio.com. So please do that. As I say, I am Herman Anderson. This is Veterans Today. And the disclaimer is the topics and opinion of those of the show hosts and guests. They are not WCEG Network thoughts and support. Thank you, Anthony. You're next.
Hey, man, thanks a lot. And I tell you what, they're out there to all of our guests around the world that we are so excited today to have not only a beautiful couple, my family, but a very great couple working for Bank Sup, and that's Tim and Micole Sudduth. How you guys doing?
We're great.
Hey, great.
How are you guys?
How y'all doing?
Fantastic. Well, as Herman stated before, we're so excited that you'll be on today because we want to talk about a subject that affects many veterans, and that's getting a home. And when we started to brainstorm about guests, immediately you two came to mind because not only I consider you a family, but you're a great couple in doing business to support veterans. So welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about you and so our guests will know who we have today.
All right. Well, I'll start. I'm Micole Sudduth, mortgage banker for about 20 years now. So very well versed with helping the veterans and becoming homeowners or refinancing or whatever they choose to do. A native of Atlanta. Yeah, just happy to be here. Happy to help homeowners. That's one of my passions. Financial literacy is one of my passions. So I'm just happy to be here.
Fantastic. And who's that guy next to you?
My name is Tim Sudduth. Been with Bank South Mortgage for 4 years. Been in real estate for over 15 years. Joined my wife, Micole, on her team. So we made up Team Sudduth. Native of Jacksonville, Alabama. Been in Atlanta for over 25 years, 20 plus years. So well-versed in real estate. And like Micole said, we just happy to be here and just happy to help homeowners get knowledge of how to purchase a home, just from A to Z. We help you from step A all the way through step Z. So just knowing the full, what word I'm trying to say?
The full process.
Process, correct.
Yeah.
Create purchase a home. So, and then once again, thank you guys for having us. We're happy to be here.
See, it's already showing up as a Team Sutter because she just pulled that word out for you.
Exactly. You already knew I was thinking.
So, Herman and myself and many others, being veterans, we've utilized the VA process to purchase our home.
Right.
So if a veteran comes to you straight off the street, look, we need to utilize the VA process to purchase a home. What are some of the first things that you're requesting from them to get the process started?
Well, I mean, veterans, just like any other homeowners, they're going to need the basic documentation. So, pay stubs or whatever their income is being generated from, whether it's you're still working or you're retired or you're getting Social Security or your VA benefits. So we need, of course, that income documentation, whatever it is for that. The difference in the documentation for veterans is we would like a copy of the certificate of eligibility. We are able to pull it online. In some cases, if you are in a situation where you can access it, but it's easier for us on the origination, the front side of it, to have it because it tells us what, if you guys are exempt from funding fees, because that's one part of the cost for a VA loan. And also if you've used your certificate of eligibility more than once. And then the DD 214 is also something, yeah, that we like to have. And
That's a buzzword with us at DD 214.
Right. Everybody knows that.
okay.
So I said, so yeah.
Anthony and myself, we've been doing this show for 5 years, and we both have veteran groups. And the DD 214 is needed for all veteran benefits, medical and the home loan whatsoever. And one thing about when you're dealing with a veteran versus dealing with a non-veteran is some businesses veterans are not their primary customers, so they don't really understand the process of a veteran and then there are other businesses that do. So that's the point that we are trying to navigate the VA system, whether you're buying a house or you're trying to get disability benefits or either get treatment at the VA hospital, is needed DD 14 and the other documentation. So a good way to help a veteran as they walk in the door is kind of walk them through what documents and what that they should have if they don't have.
Right.
It would be a good idea if you could refer them to how to get started.
Yeah,
absolutely. And like you said, that's on a case-by-case basis. Different veterans are different in every capacity, just like any other buyer for a home. So some of them need a little bit more help than others, and we assess that based on the situation. So if they do need some guidance on where to get the DD 214 or the certificate of eligibility, then we're there to assist them with that.
Correct. Right.
Let me ask you this. Joe veteran walks through the door, and that veteran has the financial documentation that you require, the certificate of eligibility and the pay stubs, et cetera, et cetera. But a key factor is, with the VA, I understand, what seems to be the baseline credit score that's necessary for that veteran to move forward?
Like right now, what we use all 3 credit bureaus: Experian, TransUnion, and Experian. And whatever your median score is between those 3, that's the score we use to qualify you on. So right now, the minimum credit score for a VA is 640. For Bank South. Correct. For Bank South.
Bank South. Okay. 640. That's good. So you have the capabilities then of pulling the credit for that veteran from all of the agencies, marry it up with the other documentations, et cetera. So now we got that portion, this credit score, the documentation, the whole 9 yards. What is the amount of funding that the veteran is eligible for based on the county where that veteran lives? For instance, Fulton County versus Rockdale County versus some other county in Georgia. Is there a set number now per county, or is it straight across the board now?
It's straight across the board. As of January, there's no loan limits. They, the Blue Water Act changed that. So it used to be where there was conforming loan limits, and it normally mirrored whatever the conventional conforming limit was, which right now for 2020 was $510,400 as far as your max. Wow. But now and then it went into a jumbo because VA financing is 100% financing. We haven't said that, and don't want to assume that all veterans know that, but it is 100% financing. But once it went over that, whatever that conforming loan limit was for that year, then there was a worksheet we had to use to determine how much above that you'd have to come out of pocket for, more so like a down payment versus it being 100% financing. But as of now, there is no more jumbo loan limits, no loan limits. Now, of course, what the veteran will qualify for is going to be based on the veteran's credit, income, and debts. That doesn't mean that because there's no income limits that you can be a veteran and just qualify for whatever you want, of course. But there are no maximum loan limits anymore.
So we can't go into Herman's neighborhood that's like 1.5 million and above to say, hey, I need a house. So we have to make sure. So we have to make sure that everything kind of blends in. If we shake it up, comes out that you qualify based on your qualifications and go for it.
That's the first step, right?
Yeah.
Getting qualified before you going out to actually look at a house. To get pre-qual, get that pre-qual letter, get with your agent, and that letter will provide you with the amount that you're qualified for. So that's what we do from the beginning, the initial.
Right.
Once we get all the documentation we need, we have a consultation with the veteran and see where they're comfortable at paying their monthly mortgage payment. A lot of people these days are looking at houses first and then coming back and wanting to qualify. So we always ask, what are you comfortable paying? What are your comfortable monthly mortgage payment amount is? That's going to dictate price point. So we work inside out. So that way you know where you are coming from, maybe an apartment or to a house where you're going to have utilities, you're going to have other stuff outside of just paying the rent that you have to take into consideration. So that's part of our consultation at the beginning of the application process.
So do you actually give them some counseling from your standpoint of saying that, okay, I got all this documentation here. We looked at your financials. We got your credit score. We recommend that you stay within this particular range. Is that what you're saying? Or you allow them to, like you said, on the front end, they were going to find a house, then come to you. But now with this new process you just mentioned, you're saying to them, based on your documentation, this is the range that you qualify for?
Well, what he's saying really, Anthony, is for the Sudduth Team purposes, we're not just qualifying you from a mortgage perspective just to try to max you out on whatever the numbers or the system says you can qualify for. We always look at it on an individual basis, and we've always qualified people. My first question, like he said, our first question is always, what are you comfortable paying monthly? What is your budget amount? Because I can qualify you for $500,000, but if you want a payment range that's closer to $250,000, then why are we talking about $500,000?
Right.
So, it just really, but some mortgage companies are going to qualify you on your max and send you out there to buy based on whatever the numbers say you can buy. And we're just saying we do look at it on a more personal consultation basis. We're gonna try to guide you in the direction of what's comfortable for you. And for the goal is always to keep you in the house. No one wants to be house poor.
Right.
And we don't want to put you in a situation where you run the risk of losing your home.
Correct.
That's good.
Let me ask you another question. Like I say, I have a veteran group. My group is Veteran Helping Veterans, and we are 8 years old. So I've seen a lot of stuff, and you have a lot of veterans. And to the bottom line, it is don't qualify, but they want to buy a house. So I get a lot of requests. Can you help me fix my credit? So what is your answer to people that are in that situation? Not your answer, but what do you have to say about it?
Well, so here's the thing, Herman. That's going to be more on an individual consultation basis. Now, as mortgage bankers, and I'm just being honest, our job is to finance homes, and it's not credit restoration. Okay. Now, but our team, like I said just before, we are looking at it more on a personal and long-term basis with the customer. So if there's something that you need assistance with, I can help you with looking at your credit to tell you what needs to be done. I always do that with any of my buyers, whether they come in with a 300 credit score or 800. We just never disregard them. I'm always going to give you some guidance on what needs to be done to improve your credit, to get you in a position to purchase. So I guess to answer your question, yes, we can help them, but it is a joint effort.
Correct.
Okay. When it comes to improving credit, I can give you the tools, but you gotta take it from there to do the work. I can't do the work for you.
Right.
So, I mean, that's the best answer I have.
Okay.
Well, it's an honest
That's
answer.
good, yeah.
That's an honest answer. Because, you know, there's so many dynamics involved with someone's credit. We don't walk in their shoes. We don't know it. We don't understand it. But I appreciate the fact that you're willing to give them the tools to move forward. Yes, they got to do the work, but in some cases, they don't know what to do.
Correct.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
especially as Herman started out, the VA is such a bureaucratic maze. It's unbelievable paperwork.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just a process that is so cumbersome. So that's why we need a team Sudduth or whatever out there to say, hey, whatever, these are the guidelines that we are bound by. Because we don't want to go back in that 2007 crash where there were so many unscrupulous mortgage companies that were certifying people that were dead.
Yeah, taking advantage.
Right, taking advantage of.
Because it's always about the dinero, the bottom line, and you know, that kind of thing. And the veteran has too many other things going on to understand that maze. That's why we need a Bank South banking mortgage, Tim and Micole Sudduth, to help the veteran go through that process.
Right. Exactly.
And to piggyback on what Micole said for us, what we do as Team Sudduth, as if somebody's not ready right now for us credit-wise, and we give them the tools to go out and help increase their credit score, we will follow up with them. You know, we're just not going to deny and not having contact with them. We'll put them on the calendar to follow up, make sure they're doing what they need to do for us, the tools that we gave them. And like right now, this example, I've been working with a young lady for over 1.5 years. And she's under contract now. She had credit issues and was challenged. She did everything I told her to do. And about 1.5 years to this day, she's actually under contract. So that's just an example of how it can work.
Doing the work. Yeah. She did the work.
She did the work.
Kudos.
Yep. Success.
Kudos to you.
Success.
Yeah, kudos to you. So what else can you of a veteran, you know, coming in to take a look to buy a home? You know, what are some of the key factors that you want to share with veterans?
Just to start the process. A lot of it is also just the unknown and the fear of the unknown. And, you know, the best way for us to help you and to get you to that final step, which is home ownership, is to start. So my advice is always don't have a fear of whatever you don't really know, or whatever you do know and you think that it's going to hinder you. Just give us a call and we can, like I said, we can start, whether the credit is 300, like Tim said, it may take a little bit longer, but we are willing to help you to get to that final step. So that's always my advice, is to start.
You gotta start.
So
to start.
You said earlier that the Team Sudduth for Bank South, your credit score limit was 640. Have you seen other mortgage companies with a lower number, a higher number to get someone qualified?
Yeah, so when the pandemic hit, all mortgage companies across the board had to take had to raise their credit score requirements. Just credit and qualifying guidelines in general were increased. Now, what's happening is we're starting to see it get a little bit more lenient, because we were out at a 600 for VA financing prior to the pandemic. But we still haven't gotten back down to that yet. There's still a lot of mortgage investors who are still leery, because there's still a lot of, we're still feeling the after effects of the loss of income from the pandemic. And it's a domino effect, and we feel it a lot later on in this industry than you feel in, you know, in real life. So we're hoping to get back down to that lower credit score requirement. And there are some lenders who've gone back down to at least a 620. I've heard that. But that's as far as I've heard, just in general across the board. So
they raised the limit to get to the sincere or serious buyer, or make sure they eliminate those individuals that would come in to buy a home and couldn't afford it if they were qualified. That's the case?
They increased the credit scores across the board, VA included, for the more credit qualified buyer, because when the president rolled out the forbearance, that the CARES Act, and it allowed people to put their mortgages in deferment or forbearance. Unfortunately, that had a huge impact on the mortgage industry, because if a buyer's not making their mortgage payment, then the people who service the loans, the ones you make your mortgage payment to, that's how they make their money. Right. And if they're not making any money, then they are hesitant about buying loans moving forward, to buy more loans that's going to cause them not to make money. Right. So that's what happened. So you had a whole lot of investors who, they weren't buying mortgages. If they don't buy them, we can't originate them. Right. If that's just how it goes. So VA loans were, you know, there was no leniency giving to that particular program either. So everybody across the board had to have a higher qualifying level, and that's what happened.
Yeah, it's kind of tighten up across the board.
You know, it seems so intriguing to us that we're besieged. I know our mailbox between, I would say, June to now, just about 2 to 3 letters a week saying that you're now eligible for the VA interest reduction loan. You've had your mortgage for such and such, and let's say your interest rate is at 3.8. We can get you down to 2.125 or 2.2.5, whatever. But when you start to dig deeper into it, you need to really understand about how you can get to those rates. So you need to explain to our customers about buying points and all those kinds of things, because a lot of veterans can come in with, well, I can get a 2.25, but they don't understand the meat and potatoes behind that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, you know, those type of solicitations that you're getting, I mean, it you know, to get you to call, they do put those lower interest rates out. But like you said, there are definitely more money involved to get to that level of the low twos, even with excellent credit right now. So you can buy points, or you can basically, points are the percentage of whatever your loan amount is that you're financing, and that is a multifaceted situation, because that depends on the rates for that day, depends on your credit. It depends on so many things, Anthony, as to what it would take to buy a rate down. But then the next part of it is depending on how much you are reducing your interest rate and how long you plan to stay in that home, as to whether or not it's a financial benefit to you.
Makes sense, right?
Because the cost of buying that rate down really needs to be assessed by the difference in your current payment and the time it's going to take you to basically break even, or basically make up where it makes more financial sense. So, I mean, so when you're doing a refi, VA interest rate reduction, we look at all of that. You have to look at all of that on an individual basis for the veteran to see if it makes sense. So we're not just going to dangle the 2.1 or the 2.0 in front of you. We've done plenty of refinances right now. It's a refinance market, and even VA refinances. And it goes back to what we said, it's about consulting with the customer and seeing what works best for that customer or for that veteran. If it makes sense to buy it down, we'll tell you it does. If it doesn't, we'll tell you that too.
Yeah.
Okay, I believe when we started, you guys stated that you service all customers, right? We're focusing on veterans, but your company is open to service to all. Is that correct?
Of course.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
You know, one good question to follow up on that. Let's say, for instance, you hear now a lot about the pandemic and how families are being affected. Loss of job, loss of income, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But now companies are saying to veterans or others, you know, you can go into forbearance.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say forbearance is for whatever period of time. Is that recommended for veterans or any family to consider forbearance, or is that a catch-22 to get them on the other end?
It is. It gets them on the other end. The forbearance situation is for whether it's a veteran or any family. It was put into place to help you if you were going through a financial situation. If you lost your job due to the pandemic or reduced hours, or you lost the source of income, then that was to allow you to not have to worry about keeping your home while trying to recuperate your income, or just keep food on your table. So it wasn't put in place for people to just skip your mortgage payment because you can. If you have maintained the same level of income during the pandemic, then my advice was continue to make your mortgage payment, because it is attached to the back of the loan. It's not a free situation.
How long can you have forbearance?
It depends on the mortgage company, but for VA and FHA loans, they were starting at 6 months.
So that 6 months will be just tacked on the back of the loan.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
Herman and I are both over, we're approaching 80, right? So,
No way.
You look great.
No way.
so
Yes, I am.
No.
So let's look at this situation. Herman Anderson, Anthony Aiken, Julio, Gustavo Juliao, we all need to think about the future, right? So we don't have, under the VA system, PMI.
Right.
We can't get that.
Right.
So let's say, for instance, that veteran becomes ill and unfortunately passes on, and that veteran still has that VA loan. What happens to that veteran's family, since he was the primary person on that loan? What happens to the family on the back end that he's gone? How does the VA approach them in regards to that outstanding mortgage because the veteran's no longer here?
So that's a good question. I won't even lie, I don't know the answer to that one, Anthony. I mean, as far as VA, what their stand on is it as far as the surviving spouse or family, if there's an automatic situation where where it's deeded to okay, so are we talking about maybe a spouse or surviving spouse? I know that surviving spouses have benefits if they wanted to purchase again, but I think that situation still falls under, do you have a will, or do you have in place as far as the home is concerned, regardless of the VA stand on the mortgage side of it.
Yeah, my question was based on the fact that if since the VA does not allow PMI, and if Joe Smucky wanted to have a mortgage, they can go out and purchase PMI for themselves or have the PMI added to the mortgage payment. But with the veteran, I guess, since you're not getting PMI, you need to have enough insurance to cover it on the back end, or they can go out and buy additional term insurance to cover the cost of the mortgage if that's what they want to do.
Okay, so that's okay. I understand now. So the misunderstanding is PMI is mortgage insurance for the mortgage company.
Oh, right.
It's not for the buyer. It's not for the veteran.
Oh, mainly for the mortgage company.
Right. It protects the loan.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with protecting
Person,
you.
correct. That protects us for default.
It protects the lender in case of default.
Correct.
So the insurance piece would come into play. Life insurance,
Correct.
just that has nothing to do with the mortgage. So if VA, there is no MI, but VA insures the mortgage.
Correct.
That's what that funding fee
For
really is designed for. That is paid up front on the VA loans. So it's not a monthly fee, but there is a percentage. I'm not sure if you guys know that for the first time, it's 3.6% of your loan amount that's financed into your loan on a VA loan, unless you are exempt from it because you have a service-related disability. Otherwise, you have to pay that up front. So no monthly fee, but it is a larger upfront fee, and that's how they insure your mortgage. But that monthly MI does not protect any buyer. That's why buyers hate it.
right.
Just let me take a few minutes to give a little update. So we're in COVID-19, and we get a lot of concerns about treatment at the VA and the processes, how they are being changed. And while we were waiting to get on, I actually got an update from the VA. So let me give you what the VA is saying. This is the Atlanta VA. We are implementing a slow and safe approach to reopen our main facilities. The following areas have been reopened at a reduced capacity: operating room, gastronomical lab, rehabilitation services, cardio labs and clinics, radiology service, nuclear medicine, and dental. And from what I understand at the VA now, when you go out there for treatment, your temperature is taken before you even get out of the car. So there's a process that there are limited access to the VA, and everything else is being done by telemedicine. And they also listed the VA clinics, and they are all still closed, only using telemedicine. And the VA has, since this pandemic started, it has encouraged all veterans and the family members to use My Health Vet, which Anthony is aware of, to order your medication and things like that. So those things are still in process for treatment during the COVID-19. And what we also do is we give out a few numbers, and because even before the pandemic, there are certain issues that veterans have. Like, for an example, the National Suicide Prevention Hotline number is 1-800-273-8255. The Veteran Crisis number is really that same number at 1-800-273-8255. And the number that's getting a lot of, has increased, is the Suicide Prevention Lifeline and the Domestic Violence Hotline, which that number is 1-800-787-3224. So those are some items and some events that we try to keep our veterans and their family members updated on.
Herman, that's extremely important information that we all need to know. But right now, I'd like for Tim and Micole to let our listeners around the country know, how can they reach you? Give us some data on, Facebook page, email addresses, whatever, because we want to advocate, Bank South and what you're doing in the banking mortgage industry to help veterans. So give our listeners some details about how they can reach you.
All right. So we can be reached at teamsudduth@banksouth.com as an email address. We both have, and we have the Team Sudduth phone number, which is, what's the number, babe?
We got personal individuals number. We got a Team Sudduth number. Give me a second.
I don't know. 444.
It's 404. The Team Sudduth number is 404-287-4203. And like Micole said, our team email address is teamsudduth, teamsudduth@banksouth.com.
Okay. Now,
The two best ways to
That's
reach
two
us.
best ways to reach us. And application process is simple. It's a link. Takes about 5 to 10 minutes to apply. If you have any issues with it, we can walk veterans through it. It's real quick and easy these days. Takes like, say, 5 to 10 minutes to complete the application. So anybody out there, any veterans need our assistance, we'd be glad to help you and help you through the process.
now, do you have a website also that they can look at with some of your information?
Yes, it's banksouthmortgage.com/Sudduth Team. Sudduth Team.
Sudduth Team.
SUDDUTH. We flip it on that. TEAM.
So Team Sudduth is a one-stop shopping. You send
Correct.
husband out to get to work. husband bring the client back to the broker and get it done. Is that the way it's working?
We're both mortgage bankers, so we have the real estate agents. I mean, they send us the customers,
Right.
and we take it from there.
Work on referrals. So past customers, they send us back their family, friends for us to do loans since they had a great experience closing with us. So we get a lot of business that way. Also with agents. So it's just a big group that we have had in contact over the plus 20 years been in the business that have done business with us, and they keep coming back. So we just appreciate that referral business and any new clientele that we get as well.
Well,
Let us do this since we had technical difficulties at the beginning. We're going to do about 20 more minutes. Let our listeners know they're listening to Veterans Today and our guests, and we'll continue. You're listening to WCEG Radio, WCEG Talk Radio. We are the Worldwide Community Empowerment Group. You can follow us live on Facebook. You can use your smart TV or your smartphone to go to WCEG Radio or WCEGradio.com. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. And I am Herman Anderson, and we are going to continue for a few more minutes. And one of my questions I have to our guest is, we veterans and non-veterans, we come in different categories. You buying your first house, buying your second house, you buying investment properties. So let's say you're dealing with someone. We'll start with you. You're dealing with somebody, because I bought my first house on a VA loan. So you start with someone that's got out and they buying their first house and they're using the VA. Anything unique about dealing with them?
Your first timers are first time veterans. No, it's the only unique thing is just guiding them through the process and making sure they're comfortable with the process.
Correct.
So each veteran is unique, and the time in their life that they decide to purchase is unique. You can have some of your younger veterans, and then you can have some people in the middle stage of their life that decide to purchase. You'll be surprised at what point people make decisions to purchase homes, depending on whatever else is going on in their lives. So we look at it on an individual basis, and we will handhold them through that process.
And I can give you an example of a veteran, not an older veteran. He probably not middle age, but 40s. he had purchased his first home VA and it's paid it out, and he ended up purchasing another home using his VA loan. So that's an example of him, doing the process and using both his VA loans on both times of his purchase. So process real smooth for him. He had no issues, and it was real smooth. So he appreciated Bank South helping him throughout the process.
Basically, how long from the moment the veteran walks through the door with his papers and you go through the process, basically how many days are we talking about getting to closing if everything is in line?
30 days.
30 days.
Yep.
Yeah, if they have a contract, if they already have their home, yes.
Right.
Mhm.
That's awesome.
30
days. That is tremendous.
So that kind of brought something to mind. So basically, you guys are the bankers, but there's the first person on the line, the first agency would be the real estate agent. Am I correct on that?
Well,
Yeah, well,
it can come either way. You can get referred. The agent can refer you the veteran, or the veteran comes to you first, vice versa. So it just depends, like I said, on the case-by-case situation. So we've had veterans come and just apply without having an agent, or they've already had an agent, or they had an agent that referred the veteran to us to apply. So it can come either way.
but you need to have your financing in order first before you get with a real estate agent.
Correct.
You shouldn't be looking at a home without having your money in place.
Qualified, right?
That's not the right order.
But
that happens a lot. Yeah.
but the veteran, a lot of veterans said, well, I don't need any money down.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Let's say I don't need any money down. I just need to get myself qualified, if possible, have the right credit score.
Right.
Don't have any craziness going on.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't need any dinero to purchase this home. Is that correct?
That's not true.
Not
They
true,
don't need
no.
a down payment, but there's still other costs involved with buying a house. You still have closing costs. You still have to set up an escrow account for your taxes and your homeowner's insurance. So down payment is not required for a VA loan, but you still have, if the seller is not paying any closing costs, you still have those, that money to bring to the table. So,
But could that money be rolled into the loan if the veteran doesn't have the resources?
you're not going to be able to roll in all closing costs. And if you do, rolling in closing costs it goes back to the rate. So it's not free.
Right.
So and right now, if it's a situation where you're having to subsidize some of them because the seller is not paying everything, but you need a little help in subsidizing a portion of the closing costs, that's a lot more feasible. But none of them, no, we can't roll in all closing costs into a loan. So there's going to have to be some type of financial contribution from the veteran in some respect, if that's the case.
So the veteran would have to pay for the appraisal.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's up front. Pest survey if that's required, correct?
It is.
Right.
Termite letter is required.
Termite letter. And say again?
Home inspection.
Home inspection if they need it.
Right.
So there's certain things that veteran up front has to pay for.
Correct. And we're correct.
Okay. Because those are the things that they don't really know or understand coming in. That, like you said, Micole, there are going to be some expenses that they have to incur. And the appraisals costs varied from company to company. It's not always the same cost.
Right. They average about $450 across the board for VA loans. Yeah.
I was also thinking when I asked about closing, when, because I know you schedule a closing, and you go to the table, and you got all these documents to sign. If somebody hasn't done their homework back, like the termite letter and all this other, got it signed off, you have a lot of people in the office ready to sign stuff, and you can't sign it.
Oh, we're not gonna let that happen, Mr.
Right.
Herman. We're not gonna let you get to the closing table and you don't sign.
Correct.
Yeah, if you get there and that happens, you had the wrong mortgage
Right.
bankers.
Yeah.
Well,
That's right.
I'm going to come from a different perspective. I'm legally blind. Okay,
Mhm.
I have issues with vision. So let's say you're dealing with a veteran that is completely blind,
Mhm.
Okay.
has no vision whatsoever, and that veteran's trust has to be in Tim and Micole 100%.
Correct.
Mhm.
So when it comes down to signing documents, and just like a stack that thick at the closing, how do you help a visually impaired veteran at the closing? If everything else is hunky-dory and everything's in line, and the veteran can't drive, like for instance, I don't drive, I don't go anywhere, so the closing attorney has to come to our home. How do you help that blind veteran go through that closing process with signatures required?
You would have to have a power of attorney, Anthony. I mean, you'd have to have someone that represents you because we are still representing the lender. So we cannot be responsible for signing, anything for you. Of course, we're going to explain it to you,
Right.
but you still have to have someone that represents your interest as well, an unbiased individual.
Correct.
We could not do that for you.
Yeah, that was a leading question. I just wanted our listeners to know. And I didn't prompt you on that one. That was just a
No,
leading
you didn't.
question.
No.
That
Because,
was a good question, though.
yeah,
So in your
because
case, it would be Brenda.
Brenda,
Of course, it would be your wife. But if you don't have a spouse,
yeah,
then you have to have a family member or someone that you
Trust,
trust that is going to be your eyes in that case.
Correct.
yeah,
Same thing with the application process. Same
All of
scenario.
that.
All that. Right.
yeah.
That was really my point. It was to our listeners, because I have the experience of we got to put the work in. You got to follow the process, and it's not that complicated, but it takes a little time and a little focus on if you're gonna buy a house, you need to make sure that all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah,
And-
Try to have a good team behind you.
Correct.
yeah.
That you trust. That's extremely important in that case.
And going back to what we mentioned earlier about the cost for a veteran, that's all. When I said earlier about consultation, we explain all that, the fees and everything up front.
Yeah.
We provide a loan estimate for the house that you're getting ready to buy, so it has a breakdown of everything. So we go over that line by line with the veteran, so there won't be any surprises or anything like that later on in the process. So they know all that up front.
Right.
Yeah, it's important. You can see my queen next to me here. It's important that the spouse is involved with the process, that
Right.
they understand the process, from the beginning to the end, to make sure that that spouse, male or female, understand what you're getting into, because
Right.
it's a big investment.
It is.
Correct.
It
It is.
is.
A very large investment, and depending on what you are qualified for, I mean, what is the most you've seen a veteran purchase home for? What is the largest mortgage you've had for a veteran in your company?
I did one last year for a couple. It was they did $650,000. It was pretty large.
So that's considered a jumbo. Is that correct?
It was at that point. It was a jumbo. Like I said, there is no jumbo now in 2020, but it was then.
Oh, there's no jumbo in 2020.
No
Yeah.
jumbo.
Right.
No jumbo. So I
But
guess.
you know what? Also, Anthony, my experience with veterans is, and like I said, I've been doing this a long time. 90% of them are very well qualified.
Yeah. Well, I'm still trying to get out in Herman's neighborhood. You know what I mean? Brenda and I need to roll on over. That kind of thing. But
in my experience, I found out there are some veterans, for some reason, not only home loans, but we deal with your disability benefits. And there are also some veterans that really are not aware of of the benefit. And that
Correct.
I heard that. Yeah.
that's what we do too. We
Okay.
make them
Yeah.
aware of the benefits. So
Mm-hmm.
the VA home loan is just one of many benefits available to veterans.
Exactly.
So that falls in that category. And what I'm gonna do, then we'll do the closing, let you guys give out your information again. But one of the documents that we mentioned at the top of the show, and one of the ones that really it's your admission ticket, is the DD-214. And so what we do is give our veterans and family information on how to acquire the DD-214.
Okay.
And one way to acquire it is through, for an example, in Georgia Department of Veterans Services. But all states have Department of Veterans Services.
Right.
And they have a website, and they have physical location. That's the one way to get it. And another way is to call the archives, and that number is 314-801-0800. Again, it's 314-801-0800. And you can also go online at www.archives.gov/veteran military records and do it that way. So that's information on acquiring your DD Form 214. And I have one announcement to make, and this is going to happen on October the 25th, which is about 2 weeks away. This is a collaboration of 3 veteran organizations: the Triple Nickel, the VFW in Clayton County, and my group, Veteran Helping Veteran. We're having a family and food distribution at from 4 to 7. It's located at 400 Northside Drive, and the point of contact is Tiffany Morman, Morman, and her Tiffany's number is 404-226-1815. And we will be have a food drive-through and other things at that location.
It's good news, Herman. It's real good news because we try to help veterans as much as possible by providing good, straightforward, factual information. One thing, Tim and Micole, is every piece of information that we provide to our veterans is straightforward, no games being played. We want to make sure, apologize. That's our alarm system. Call Miko. But I just want to make sure that all of our veterans know and understand that anytime they listen to the WCEG Network, and I got to give a lot of plug to Micole also, Penny Rogers. This was her dream almost 6 years ago. And we're one of the #1 rated stations in the country.
Wow.
That's awesome.
You know what I'm saying? #1 rated. So not only will our guests see you on Facebook Live, but they'll be able to see you on YouTube also. So you can tell all your friends, your associates, that you have seen on the #1 station talking about key information to veterans. So the other thing we want to make sure that everyone realize that early voting begins on Monday, October 12th, and it runs to the 30th. Ms. Rogers, our kahuna, our queen, indicated that we're #5 globally, #1 talk radio genre station in the country.
Yes.
Kudos.
Awesome.
This all started from a mustard seed. Herman and I have been through the battles. Unfortunately, he's Air Force, I'm Army, but it's okay. It's all good.
It's all good. And one thing that we also want the community to know, the census is still being taken. So if you haven't got counted, please go get counted. You got until the end of October. They tried to cut us off early, but it didn't work.
Didn't work.
You know,
So please do that. And well, you guys have the time to wrap it up, to give your information out again, please.
Okay.
Okay. All right. First of all, I want to thank you guys for having us on.
Yes,
We had a blast. We appreciate it. Definitely. Our contact information, Facebook information is at Team Sudduth, TEAMSUDDUTH. That's Facebook name. Okay. So the email address, I apologize, is Team Sudduth, TEAMSUDDUTH @banksouth.com. Our website is www.banksouth mortgage mortgage.com /Sudduth Team SUDDUTHTEAM. We can be reached at 404-287-4203. And our Facebook page is The Sudduth Team, THE Sudduth Team.
I tell you what, this has just been an awesome show. On behalf of Herman,
Yeah, it has.
Been great.
It's been great.
our leader,
It
Penny,
has been. We thank you guys for
we can't thank you enough.
participating. And we enjoyed it. When me and Anthony get together, we always enjoy.
Y'all have a great dynamic.
Y'all do.
Oh yeah, you know,
Herman, don't let them in your neighborhood, Herman.
That's why I was laughing. I wanted to say something, so I will leave it alone.
well, again, thank you. This show
It's been recorded, and so you can view it in our archives on Facebook. You can also view it on YouTube. So
yeah, so spread the word. Spread the word, folks.
Will do.
Yeah, we'll tune in. We'll start tuning in as well.
Yes, we will.
Thank you.
appreciate it. And let your friends know also.
And
Sure.
We will.
Definitely.
one of our viewers wanted to know, are you the Sudduth family that was on Steve Harvey's Family Feud show?
No.
No.
But we did see it.
We did see it, yeah. Could be related, but nah, not that I know of. But
Okay. All right. Well, again,
We saw that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
again, thanks a lot. We really appreciate
Thanks a
it.
lot. And I'm going to have to wrap it up before me and Anthony get out of control.
oh.
So y'all,
I got to tune in the future.
that listen to WCEG Talk Radio, we thank you for joining today, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Have a good day.
Appreciate it. Take care.
Have a good
Thank y'all.
weekend, guys.
Bye, y'all. Thanks.
Bye.
Oh, that was a